Hello, everyone. So I'm here, as you can see, on my own. But it's weird because I have done a live on my own before. It's just I'm used to doing it the live with Mark, so it's just a little bit weird. A few weeks because we're going to both be studying. So I start my study next week. And Mark's already been doing his study for a little while. So he's studying at the moment as we speak. But he's doing work and study, which is kind of a bit difficult, and I'm just getting back into study. So I don't know how that's going to be, really. I don't know how my mind's going to work. Is it going to work the same as it did, back in the day? But we'll see. And yeah, so that's it, really. So I've got my customary Starbucks, and I also got a sandwich. So this is what we've got. What did I get? I got, let's have a look. I got the chicken mozzarella pesto focaccia. It smells amazing. Do you know what? I was like, I was going to cook, but then do you know what I did? I did chocolate covered strawberries instead. So literally about 5 minutes before I came on, I was still sort of coating the strawberries, and I've still got 4 left to do, but we'll probably just eat those 4. So I've put them in the fridge to set ready so that we can eat the chocolate covered strawberries later. So I'm well excited for that. But yeah, I don't know why I decided to do everything last minute, really. But yeah, I just decided, you know what? I want to have some chocolate covered strawberries. Let me just do them. So they were in the fridge, and of course I have to, oh, that's my little alarm there. And of course I have to wash them. So when you wash them, I give them sort of like an apple cider vinegar bath with water. And then that just kills off all the pesticides and everything else that's on the strawberries. And then you have to dry them one by one. So I just decided to do that. But had I finished them and had they been set, I would have been eating them now. But never mind, they're in the fridge now, so I'll enjoy them later. No doubt my mum will want to have some, and no doubt, obviously, Mark will eat some. So at least we've got that. So what have I been doing this week? I haven't done much, really. I popped out quickly with my mum, and we quickly sort of went to do some shopping and a couple of bits. So we did that, and hence I got the strawberries. And I thought, it's like sometimes I'll get them, and then I can't be bothered to do the chocolate strawberries. But this time I thought, you know what? Let me just get on and I'll do them today. And then I cooked us lunch earlier, and we just had I had steak. And I just did Mark some fish in the oven, and we just had like a pasta salad. So that's what we had at lunchtime. But now, and I ordered Mark one as well, but his one doesn't. My one has chicken in it. This is the focaccia. So this is the chicken tomato mozzarella focaccia that I got at Starbucks. So I've never had it before. I have had their mozzarella panini before, which Mark has got this time. But I'm going to try this, and I'm going to see if it's any good. It looks a little bit, I'm not going to lie, it looks a little bit dry. So I think it needs some type of sauce with it, I think. But we'll try it and see. Nice. The bread is really soft. I was expecting the bread to be quite hard. Hey, Minnie, how are you? What have you been up to? I basically ordered this. It's like a chicken mozzarella and tomato focaccia from Starbucks, and I just wanted to try. I've never tried it before. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to taste it, see how it is. It's quite nice. It is a little bit dry, but the bread is really super soft. The top is a little bit crusty, but that's because that's where they toasted it. But the bottom part of the bread is really soft and lovely. The top is quite nice as well. I don't mind it when it's been toasted. You know what I mean? Because I asked for it to be toasted. So I'm enjoying this at the moment. And then, obviously, the customary Starbucks. And the lovely Mark, one of the guys, you know, one of the guys that, one of the viewers that's on here, we're becoming fast friends. You know, me, Minnie, Mark, we're becoming fast friends. And he sent me a voucher. Well, not me, obviously, me and Mark. Yeah, he sent me a voucher. Me and Mark, and that was so kind and that was so lovely. So we're probably going to spend it tomorrow. I'm getting excited. We're going to go out tomorrow. We're going to do some filming. I've still got some stuff to upload. Yeah, we've got the Harry Potter one. Oh yeah, I hope I enjoy it too. It's actually quite enjoyable. It's actually quite nice. Minnie, I'm just answering Minnie's question. But the Harry Potter, because we went to Harry Potter Warner Brothers Studio. I don't know if anyone's been. It's if you haven't been and you get the chance, do go. It's fantastic. It's really good. We went in the week. And I specifically chose in the week because it was going to be less busy. Obviously, it's less busy because, you know, then I'm assuming that they're only letting a certain amount of people in at one time. And we went, and it was the Slytherin, I think it's Slytherin week or Slytherin month or something like that. But I didn't notice anything different per se, although it was Slytherin week, except they put the banners up. Minnie, you definitely have to go. Whenever you decide to come to London, that's where you should go. Most definitely. It's one of the spots that you need to go and see. And it just shows you the making and how they, you know, how they did it, or how they did all the tricks, how they did the flying on the broom, how they did, you made things appear bigger than what they actually are. Because, you know, Hagrid looks huge. And they explain all of that. And you see how they did, you know, the Gringotts Bank and all of that. It's absolutely amazing, and you really need to go. Equally, the one in Florida, although it's not the making, it's actually the world. So you're actually immersed in the world. You know, they have a 3 broomsticks, and you know they have a Madame Malkin's and Florine Fortescue's ice cream parlor and things like that. It's Slytherin Celebrations. It's been there for like a year now. I think I follow them on Instagram. But it's the banners and the common room. And yeah, so basically, yeah, so when we went, there wasn't anything specifically Slytherin. It was just the banners that were up. So it was the Slytherin banners. And Mark really likes Slytherin. But it wasn't anything. I thought there might be a theme, as in they would do something Slytherin-ish. Do you know what I mean? That's what I was expecting. But no, it was just the banners. But it's still an amazing thing, you know. I'm cutting bits of footage away that I just think, oh no. So what I need to do is plan to break it down. So maybe I'll do a part 1, part 2, part 3. Because there's so many little nuances and sets and things where you can go, that, you know, there's photo ops. They also give you a little passport when you go in, and then you can, as you're going around the set tour, you can get your little embossed stamps. It's just really an amazing place to see, and to actually be on set and to see where the actors were. And how the actors sort of got around certain things. Yeah, it's coming to an end soon. Yeah, they might be wrapping it up now, because it was at one point the banners and the common room, and more Slytherin costumes, etc. I saw it on their Instagram. Yeah, so I didn't. Do you know what? I didn't even see that many Slytherin costumes. I've got to be honest. Because it's coming to an end, and that's why they have the banners. They only, oh right, was there more? Because I was going to say, because there wasn't that many costumes that were out. The only thing that we saw, yeah, were the banners. But when you go into the Great Hall, they only had two house tables out, because if you've ever watched the film, there's 4 house tables for each of the houses. So they only had 2 houses out, but they didn't say which table was what, or which table was which house, should I say. So basically what they did do is they had costumes for each house. So they had the Harry and Harry's first costume that he wore for Gryffindor, and then they had the Hufflepuff, and they had the Ravenclaw, and then they had Slytherin. But it was like 3 or 4 costumes from each house at the 2 tables. So you would have 2 sets of costumes, and then further on you'd have 2 sets of costumes on either end. And then they did the head table at the very end. Hey Mark, how are you? Hope you're well. I just told them about your lovely voucher. Thank you very much again. Thank you. It's very kind. I'm just catching up. Yeah, there was a lot more before, but I think it's ending in September around, so they might be starting to put things away. Yeah, they might be, but which is a real shame, because it would have been nice for Mark to see all the Slytherin stuff. I'm Gryffindor, he's Slytherin. I think you're Slytherin as well, Minnie, aren't you? I still really want to go, but it's still cool seeing them on their Instagram. Yeah, it is. I mean, some of these sets and stuff are amazing. And it's I went a good few years back, and it was nowhere near as it is now. It was, you went round to they had a few sets. So basically they had one room, and they had sort of like an outside bit, sort of like Privet Drive, and that was it pretty much. And now, you know, then when I went back again, they have the night bus, they've got the bridge, they've got you can actually enter the house, because before, when I first went, you couldn't enter the house. You can enter the house now. They've got the Forbidden Forest, they got Gringotts Bank. There's just so many things to see and do. Oh, I'm happy you're good. How's Rob? How's Nasha? I hope Nasha's doing really well. Yeah, I think that you are Slytherin. I remember you saying, Minnie. And I think that when you sort of go to these, so when I went at the beginning and they didn't have much there compared to what they have now, it just blows my mind. And I also think, like, where did they get the room to do it? Because it's a television studio. It's an actual working studio when you go down there. So you unfortunately, you're only seeing one part of the studio, so you don't get to see, you know, the other working studios that are filming whatever they're currently filming. Yeah, they've done so much more than before. Yeah, I've heard that before. So it sounds like they up their game, yeah, to make it more. It is so true, because don't get me wrong, it was an enjoyable experience before, but I think when you think how another country has really sort of taken it on board, I think that we had to up our game, if that makes sense. They had to. I'm not trying to compare it or saying that it's the same, because it isn't, because this is actually the making of it. So you're actually when you go to Florida, or indeed you know, when you go to LA, I assume, because I've not been to the LA one, you're actually immersed in the world of Harry Potter. But when you go here, it's actually the making of it. So you see, you know, how they created this, the idea of that, how it grew, you know, what came next, you know, and things like that. And I was watching, what were we watching the other day? We were watching a little documentary, and the concept of Quidditch, because I said to Mark, the concept of Quidditch is really interesting to just come up with a game of Quidditch. I think it's really quite amazing to, you know, create this whole new game, and totally viable if we could fly, or if we had flying broomsticks. Totally viable game. It's this really, she's done it. I think the world of Harry Potter is very amazing to me. I think the details are there, all the little things, all little clues that are throughout the story, and it's just very, very cleverly written. Yeah, all fine. Rob's watching tennis and Ash is asleep. I'm just chilling. It's a very muggy, yeah, it's very muggy weather. Do you know what? It is here as well. It's been overcast the whole day. I think we might have had a little bit of rain, but nothing to speak of. But yeah, it's just been overcast. It's only brightening up now, really, in the evening. So it's just a bit. Yeah, I mean, there's more added to add. That's what I mean. Slightly more enjoyable. Yeah, it's true. Wonder how much is being made from the 4 Harry Potter videos, books, everything. Do you know what? I have no idea. It must have generated, because it's captured the heart of everyone, Harry Potter. I think it must just have generated so much money, because you've had different prints, you've had limited editions, you have pins now, you have, you know, your banners, you have mugs, you have you know, now you have the experience. Now there's a play, you know, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. And I've been to see it, by the way. It's so clever. If you ever get a chance to go and see Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, go. It's so clever. It was expensive, but we got it. We got really good seats, and we got it when it first came out. We had to sort of not bid for tickets, but you had to really go online. And I had 2 computers, and my friend was trying it on her computer, and we managed to get tickets. Yeah, and it was amazing. We had such a good time. And we went to see both. We went to see one night and one the next night. So we didn't go and see you know, one playing the whole day. But yeah, it was really good. So if you get a chance, definitely go and see it. It's really good. Bet she's laughing now. Do you know what? She was so poor, and you know, I don't know if you know the story of J.K. Rowling, but you know, her mum passed away when she was young, and all of this, and she moved to teach English in Spain or somewhere, I think it was, somewhere in Europe anyway, and she suffered, you know, abuse at the hands of her husband, or her then husband, and all of that. And they had a child together. So she came back to England. She decided to leave, came back to England, and was poor. She was on benefits and stuff like that, and just sat in a cafe with 1 coffee, just writing. And that's, you know, what she did for many, many months or years, or however long it took. But it was very clever the way throughout her life she sort of, the way I see it is like, you know, you have an idea here, you have an idea there, you have an idea here, you have an idea there, and you create this world. And everybody has their interpret. What, when you read something, you have if someone sends you a text message, you have the way that you said it in your mind, but someone else takes it to a different, reads it another way. So I reckon everybody who reads Harry Potter doesn't read it in the same way. It means something personal to them, as does any book. Someone could read the same book but take something, you know, away, totally different away from the other person. I think that's amazing, really, when you read books and things like that. You can take something different away, and it's not always the same thing. Yesterday we had a big storm. Today it's spotting rain here, and then tomorrow it's finally meant to be lightening up, sunny, which sounds nice. Yeah, do you know what? I hope the same happens here. Do you know, I think it was last year, but not so much last year, but I think the year before, or the year before that, we had an August, and it was overcast the whole August. The whole August was overcast. It was warm, there was no rain, but it was overcast. And you know what? The sort of depression, I think, that came over me, and you don't realize how much you actually want and need the sun, because you have your winter months and all of that. And even now, when we have winter, we do have sun. It's cold, but we actually do have sun during the winter. Not all winter, but quite a lot of it. So when something is overcast for a whole month, and you don't have any sun. It's crazy. It's crazy. Oh, I was going to see in October. 1 second, but because the thing shut down, it was cancelled. Oh, well, we all know the reason why. So excited, and then yeah, it was cancelled. Can you rebook the tickets though, or can you just change the tickets? Can you do something like that? But can't wait until I can see it when the theatres open up again. Yeah, it's meant to be opening up soon actually. Oh, I meant October 2020. Yeah, she's a very clever woman. And I think, they always say we all have a book in, there's a book in all of us. And I just wonder, like, I would love to write a book, but I don't have the patience or the tenacity, I suppose, to be, forward enough or the patience or the will to actually write one. But yeah, there's a book in all of us. So if any of you out there decide to write a book, send it to me because I'll read it, definitely. And it's very sad because a colleague at work wrote a book, and he passed away during the pandemic from COVID, before he had a chance to see it published, because he was telling me, oh yeah, it's going to be published and all that. He was very excited about it, and then yeah, it was just so sad. I have a copy of it which I haven't read yet, but we'll get round to reading. But I just thought that was so sad. But yeah, there's a book in all of us. So I've got the window open, so if you hear noise from the road, that's because I've got the window open. It's quite warm actually. So yeah, very, very clever woman. And God, I think Harry Potter was one of those first books that, I mean, don't get me wrong, because I'd read a lot of Stephen King and sort of other books prior to that. But my mum is a real avid reader. She would read books upon books upon books upon books. And when I was younger, I had a neighbour over the road, and she had loads of annuals. I don't know if anyone remembers annuals, but they used to be like a thick book of whatever comic or magazine or whatever you read. Things like Jackie, or I don't know, Mad Magazine or something like that. But she had all of these sort of like Jackie type ones, and Jean and everything else. She had a whole like 2-3 bags of these annuals, and she gave them to me, and every night I would open and read and just read and read and read and read all these annuals. I was like, oh my god, oh my god. And then I didn't read for ages. So this was at school. Then I didn't read for ages, and then then I started working, and I would buy magazines. I was a real, magazine person, just buy a load of magazines and read those. And then I started reading books, but I couldn't find books that I really I would read books. So I read a lot of Stephen King, but I really couldn't find books that I really would lose myself in. And then there were a couple of fantasy books which were good. And then I came across Harry Potter, and I could not put the book down. And at that point, I wasn't a fast reader. I'm not really a fast reader now. But I couldn't put the book down. And I remember I was in my room for about 2 weeks reading a book. And I remember my gran knocking on my door going, Kelly, is everything all right? I didn't have the TV on or anything. She must have thought I was crazy, because I'm a real TV person. So she must have just thought, oh, so she knocked on the door, because I just locked myself in my room and was reading Harry Potter. She's like, oh, you all right? I was like, yeah, Grandma, I'm fine. So let's see. I collected the Dandy and Beano annuals. I got everyone really. Do you still keep them now? They're in boxes all over the flat. Should be on a shelf. Yeah, you should definitely put them on a shelf. Hi Vina, how are you? I hope you're well. I'm good, thank you. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I'm brilliant. We're just talking about books and annuals and stuff. and how I sort of really got into reading. And so I read Harry Potter, but prior to that, I'd read a few fantasy books. And then after that, I read a few. Like we've got shelves and shelves of books. We've actually put some books in a tub and actually put them in the loft because we've got so many. And I don't read as much now, which is a shame. Because now I feel that I need to be in a quiet room in order to read a book now, which is a shame because before I could read a book anywhere. But I think I am going to start picking up books more and more often because once I got the tablet, which so on the way to, because normally on the train I would read a book, and if it was quiet I would read a book, but now it's crazy. Once I got my tablet, that's what I'd be watching. So on the train to work and on the train home, I'd be catching up on, I don't know, whatever, Vampire Diaries or Legacies or some other sort of thing that I'd be catching up on. So I sort of forgot about the reading really. And I really do need to pick up a book again. I've ordered quite a few books, quite a few fantasy books. Raymond E. Feast. He did The Magician, and I vaguely remember. I remember reading it, but I can't quite remember the story. And I read Robin Hobb books as well. But I didn't read the Live Ships. That was the only set I didn't read. So I read The Assassin. I read that one, and then there was the Live Ships, and then after that she went back to writing about the Assassin again. So I read the 6 books, but I didn't read the Live Ships. So that's the next ones that I want to read is the Live Ships. I lose concentration when reading. I end up skimming pages. Oh, hi Vina. He's actually studying. So he's going to do one on Tuesday. So he's going to do the Tuesday live, and then I start studying on Tuesday. So he's going to do the Tuesday live. So he's going to do that on his own, and then the following Friday, and we're going to do that for the next few weeks, just so that I can get used to studying again, because I haven't studied for many years. I'm excited. I'm not nervous. It's like a nervous excitement kind of thing. So it's not nervous as in bad nerves, but like a nervous excitement. Like I can't wait to get started. I wish I'd started, weeks ago and stuff like that. So I'm excited to be starting my course soon. And Mark is doing his one's quite intense. So he's doing that while working. So it's a bit more difficult for him. But yeah, so for the next few weeks, that's what we'll do. And then after the few weeks, when I've got my mind settled and he's a bit more settled, then we'll be doing them together again. So don't worry, he'll be back. But you'll be able to see him on Tuesday. Tied up. Yeah, that's it. I just tied him up upstairs, isn't it? Wait for me for later, isn't it? But so he's doing that. What have I got? We haven't got anything planned this weekend per se, but we do need to. Which book have you read in recent days? Do you know what? I had it just a minute ago, actually. There we go. That's the most recent book, The Summoner, that I read. I read the first one. This is the second one, and I haven't quite finished it, but it's been sitting there for ages waiting for me to finish, because I went through the first one. I thought, great. And I think there's like 3 books, but there's 4 books, and I've got all of the 4 books. So I started this one, and do you know what it was? I was just in the Works. I don't know if anybody knows the bookshop called the Works. It's like a bookshop, stationery shop. It's like the poor cousin of WH Smith, right? But when you go in there, you get some really good deals. It's just like, oh, you can pick up like so many bargains in there. And they were doing like, I think it was 3 books for £5 or something like that, or 5 books for £10 or something like that. they were doing this really like a really good deal on these books. So they didn't have all 4 books. Did I buy all 4 books at the same time? Yes, or maybe I did buy all 4 books, but it then didn't give me, because I think it was like 3 for 5, and then I couldn't, and so I needed to buy another 3, and I found another 2, but I couldn't find the third. I couldn't find the third book. So basically, I was going to buy 6 books for £10, but I couldn't find a 6th book. So I had, you know, I had the 5 books, but I was just like, oh, but getting the 5 books was still going to cost £10 the way that it worked out. So I would have got the 6th book for free, basically. But I just thought, oh, I just didn't want to pick up any book and then it's just sitting there and it's a waste. I'd rather let someone else have that book rather than, so I bought, so I just left it as the 5 books, and so I had 5 books for £10. I think the other book that I bought was a Wagamama's book, a Wagamama's cookbook. Oh, I love Wagamama's. If any of you know, I love Wagamama's. So I got a Wagamama book, and years ago, Wagamama did these sauces, and these sauces were brilliant. But they stopped doing them now. I hate it when they discontinue stuff. Yeah, there's one near us, Cheap as Chips. Yeah. Yeah, we'll have good offers in WH Smith. They do have good offers in WH Smith, but if you ever go to the Works is superb. If you like, when I used to go in there because you know, when my nephews were younger, they used to like things like In the Midnight Garden or Beast Wars or whatever it was, and I'm telling you, children's books are so expensive. I was so shocked. I was so shocked how expensive children's books are. I mean, sometimes I'm shocked just how much normal books are, let alone children's books. So I used to go to the Works, and you could get really, really good deals picking up a load of children's books. And that's what I used to do. I used to just go in there and pick up a load of books. And sometimes online, you could get the Beast War, the Beast Quest. That was it. It's Beast Quest. And you know, they used to you know, read things like Diary of a Wimpy Kid and things like that. They're real, or I mean, my older nephews are real avid readers. Not so much now, but they loved reading when they were young. So it was just nice to sort of get them little things and I love buying. Don't get me wrong, I like buying them fun toys as well. So whenever I went to Florida and things like that, I'd buy them, you know, a limited edition Mr. Potato Head, or you know, whatever it was, you know, all the fancy stuff. But sometimes I like getting them things like puzzles, you know, things that just made their brain work that little bit extra. And I mean, they're both advanced in their classes, so they're doing very, very well. But yeah, I just used to like getting them books and things like that. And I used to like them when they were reading something. But, you know, because a lot of kids now, they're sitting down, you know, they're on the Game Boy. Well, not even Game Boys back in my day, but the PS or the Switch or whatever it is. And so whenever they used to come to my house, I used to take their sort of games away from them. Not horribly, all right. I'll go put that down and we'll go outside and we'll do something outside. And then I take them into the garden and play with them and all of that, rather than them, you know, and interact with them rather than them sitting there, you know, on their games, because sometimes it can be a little bit antisocial. And I wanted to interact with them. They're my nephews. So yeah, so that's what we used to do. And I used to buy them little books so that they could read and things like that. David Walliams books are expensive. Do you know what? All kids' books are expensive. Trust me. I've not checked on the David Walliams books because there isn't, the other kids in the family don't really read, as far as I'm aware. You have one that's very much into all the Bear Grylls stuff. You know, he's like 8 and he's like really, really into everything Bear Grylls, survival, all of this type of stuff. Yeah, very much into that. But yeah, there isn't, other than my first 2 nephews, the other nieces and nephews aren't really into reading and stuff like that. but I've got two nephews who are very into doing everything outside. Like, one loves hugging trees, and then the other one likes the Bear Grylls and all of that. So they're like more outdoor stuff, and they like doing activity stuff. So and I quite like that. Quite like that. Yeah, really good deals. Cheap for 5 books is amazing. It's very, very true. I mean, even when I was in Toronto, there was a bookshop. I can't even remember, but in the main sort of part where some of the shops are, and I think they had a Starbucks in that bookshop, and I used to spend a lot of my time in that bookshop. I love bookshops, or I did love bookshops. Not that I don't love bookshops now, but um, they've shut down. So because they used to have books, etc. Here, you used to have Waterstones, Attacker. We've still got Waterstones, and Otakers. I used to always call it Otakas, Otakers, and Borders. And they've shut down so many bookshops because now it's all digital, isn't it? So it's just such a shame because I will spend. Mark hates it sometimes when I pass a bookshop because I'll go in. I love the smell of books, and I love looking at books. I love reading books. If you gave me a seat and just plopped me down, I would just read. There was whenever I used to go to Florida on International Drive, there at Point Orlando, there's a I think there's a Tommy Hilfiger there now, but that used to be a bookshop. And I used to spend hours in that bookshop. Like my parents would just leave me there and go off, and I would just be there sort of reading books. But yeah, I mean, I love a good bookshop. I remember when I was a kid getting a £5 book voucher and couldn't buy nothing. Couldn't buy nothing now with £5. It's so true. It's so true. Most books now are 6.99. I would say 6.99 and above, 9.99, 6.99, everything above, and those are paperbacks. Yeah, it was crazy. I remember I won a cup when I was at school. I won a couple of awards, and our when you won the award, you were able to go and buy 2 books. And I remember going, and I've actually still got one of them because I won 2 awards. I was allowed to buy 2 books. But if you obviously per award you get 1 book, and I had one too. And I remember getting wit, and we went with the deputy. We went with was he the headmaster? Was he the deputy headmaster? He was the deputy headmaster at the time. He then became headmaster, but he was deputy headmaster at the time. And he said we weren't allowed to buy anything on the occult or anything like that. He had to bet the books. He was an RE teacher as well. And I remember I bought the book Witches by Roald Dahl, and I had to go and clear it with him. I bought a Bible, a kid's Bible, which I've still got. It's on my bookshelf. And I went to a Catholic school, and I bought The Witches by Roald Dahl. And I remember bringing it up to him. He goes, "I said nothing about the occult." I said, "It's by Roald Dahl." He's like, "Oh, yes. Oh, okay, yeah, you can have that." I was just like, "Oh my God." But yeah, and I remember but he was impressed that I bought this Bible. But it was a really of its day. And I mean, I'm not I don't read Bibles and things like that or anything like that. That was just what we did at school and things. But I still have it on my bookshelf, and every now and again I'll pull it out if I want to read a story or something like that, because that specific Bible were full of children's stories. And it just brings me back to my childhood, and sort of like, when I was in the choir and things like that. All right, Boffin. Chapters, Indigo, Coles, they're all the same company. Right, but their stores are called different depending on the location and size. If it was downtown, it was most likely the big Indigo. All right, okay. OMG, I love The Witches. Yeah, I read it as a kid, and also teacher read it to my class once. But I love that book so much. Do you know what? I think Roald Dahl did so many good books. And one of my favorite books is Charlie and Chocolate Factory. That was one of mine. And when Gene Wilder did the film, or they called it Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I just thought that film was amazing, and it was strange to me because they said that that never did very well, that film, and I was so shocked that that film didn't do very well. It was crazy. I have a big box collection of his, and I love them so much. Do you know what? When you say big box, it I remember reading Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and he had a box of chocolate, sort of different slabs of chocolate, and he would take a corner. And when you say, "Oh, I've got a box of books," it just reminds me of Charlie, eating a piece of chocolate because he had a box of chocolate that he would just save anytime he got one as a birthday present. But yeah, mm, I really do want to get back into reading. And I think now, because we get distracted and things like that, we don't read enough as a society. But whenever I go on holiday, I like to bring like a crossword puzzle. I say crossword puzzle, arrow words. I love arrow words. So I'll always have an arrow words. I always love the take a breaks arrow words. So whenever we go to the airport, Mark knows I've got to pop into WH Smith at the airport and pick up my arrow words ready for the holiday. And then I ask everyone, like I'll shout out questions and people will answer them, and then I'll put the answers in. Yeah, love Charlie. Yeah, me too. It was one of my favorites. And I loved Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. The New Witches movie wasn't as good as the original one. Do you mean the one with, oh, what's her name? The one who played in the Addams Family. Oh, I forget her name now. But I remember her doing a form of the witches. But I can't remember her name. I want to say Angelica Houston, I think her name is. Are you talking about that version? Angelica Houston, yeah. Yeah, I remember that version, but I haven't seen the new one. I believe the new one is with Anne Hathaway, maybe? Is that right? Far better. Um, I um I only vaguely remember. I'll have to watch it again. But I do remember I didn't really like it. I got to be honest. I remember sort of watching it and thinking, "Oh, it was good," but I didn't think it was that good. But I need to go back and rewatch it. Sometimes we see things differently the older we get, or we change our opinions, don't we, on things? But I'll take a look. Apparently hated the original Willy Wonka movie. Yeah. So his wife helped with the Tim Burton one to make it more like the book and how the movie should have been. Do you know what? I didn't like it. The Tim Burton one, there's only specific films of Tim Burton that I like anyway. For me, he's too out there as a director for me. But he's a good director. He's just not my type of director. I like some of I like more of the animated stuff that he does rather than the films. So I like when he did things like what's the one with Jack Skellington, The Nightmare Before Christmas. I really enjoy that one, and I actually do watch that all the time. Same as the BFG, the new one, not very good. Oh, I've not seen the new one. I liked the cartoon with David Jason. The new one with Anne Hathaway, not very good. Right, I'll take a look at both of them and see. But I liked the cartoon BFG. Did they do a film? Did they do a film of the BFG? I didn't know actually. But was Roald Dahl alive when the cartoon of the BFG came out? The one that David Jason did. Yeah, I like Cutie. A few bits of his things, and same. I really enjoy his animation ones. Yeah, but I don't like a lot of his things. But I really like his art style, though, for sure. Yeah, I like. I I started watching The Corpse Bride, and something distracted me, and I didn't get to finish it. But The Corpse Bride looked quite good. And like I said, I like Nightmare Before Christmas. There's a couple of other things that he's done. Yeah, Helen Mirren. was in the new movie of BFG. Oh right, I didn't know they had done a movie of the BFG. I'll have to have a look at that. But yeah, I think. Do you know what it is though? I think sometimes, you know, like back in the day, with the British, I think that sometimes when the Americans see something, they see something different to the way that, you know, like the same with Mary Poppins and things like that. The way she had written the book and the way that she had thought about the story was not the way. I don't know who. Sorry, Walt Disney. I said I was going to say I don't know who the guy. The Walt Disney sort of saw it. I think was very different to the way that she had viewed it, and I think Roald Dahl's probably the same with, you know, the American version of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. But I think nowadays, though, the marriage between, you know, when Britain does something and when America does something and when they come together, I think it becomes more symbiotic. So they work on things just that bit better, just that bit better. And yeah, I think it's just a case of a lot of communication and actually taking the other person's thought process on board, which it was the same with actually the Greece thing, although that wasn't a British, that obviously nobody British was involved with Greece. But I remember the guy that actually wrote Greece, when he did the stage version, he had a hard hitting gritty, it was hard hitting and gritty. And then when the television studio got hold of it, they wanted to make it all flouncy and lovely and the Grease as we know today. But I remember the guy who actually wrote it was coming on set and saying, no, you can't do it this way, you can't do it that way. In the end, they banned him from the set. And because he'd sold the rights to it, he couldn't have any input in the way that they had decided to do Greece. It was quite a shame, really. But I love Greece the way it is now, that is. So only see the live action one. I have to say I enjoyed it from the viewer point of view. Right, okay. But if I read the book and seen the animated on, I would probably have changed my mind. Right. Oh, I like the original Witches movie compared to the new one. Oh, right. But I do have to say I still enjoyed the new one. But yes, the original is still much better than the new one. But do you know what? I think that of a lot of things, sometimes when you see something, it's there's a nostalgia about it and there's a feeling about it. And when it gets remade, it's by obviously very much it's very much like the first Dumbledore. The first Dumbledore in the Harry Potter movies was Richard Harris. To me, he portrayed Dumbledore down to a T. He portrayed Dumbledore as I saw Dumbledore, as I imagined Dumbledore when reading the book on the page. He portrayed Dumbledore to a T. When Michael Gambon took over the role, he was not. Michael Gambon's an excellent actor and everything else, but it wasn't the same Dumbledore that I read from the book. So for me, his interpretation was very, very different. Of course, he's a whole different actor and his thought process is going to be different and everything else. And much like lots of things, everybody's thought process is different. So when you see a film and you love that film, when it gets remade, it's very rare that the film is going to be better than the original one because you have such a love for the original one. And it's just very much the same with books. If you read a book and you watch a film, it's very rare that the film is going to be better than the book. That's just how things are. Also, the first comment before I said something about the Witches movie, I was talking about the BFG. Oh, okay. I thought I would mention that because I didn't mention the title of the BFG. Right, because I was thinking you were probably talking about a Tim Burton film. When you said so I only see the live action one, I was thinking of a Tim Burton film. I only have to say that I enjoyed it from the viewer's point of view. Right, okay. And then you went seeing the animation one. So in my mind, I was still thinking Tim Burton, but I see it's the BFG, right? Yeah, like with the BFG, I haven't seen the live action one. But even when I watch something like The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, um, Minnie, you wouldn't have seen this one, but on The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, we had a BBC British version of The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, and to me, that was the best Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. They then remade it into a film, of course, with what's his name from Shameless, and he's now doing the Dark Materials. I forget his name. James McAvoy. James McAvoy played the Fawn in the movie version, but the movie version is nowhere near as good as the original BBC's version of The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. And equally with Pride and Prejudice, when the BBC did the Pride and Prejudice version, and then they did the movie version with Keira Knightley and what's his name, McFadden. I can't remember his first name. I want to call him James McFadden, but I don't know if that's his name. Wasn't as good. So the movie version wasn't as good as the Colin Firth version for me. But that's just my opinion. But it's rare that when you see an original version, that when they do the remake, that it will top the original version. But I don't think I've seen anything that's topped an original version. The only thing maybe would be when Peter Jackson did Lord of the Rings, because there was only a cartoon version of Lord of the Rings. And I think, if I can remember correctly, because it's been so many years since I saw the cartoon version, God, I would have been really little. They amalgamated all the books into the one cartoon version, whereas in Peter Jackson's version it was 3 films for Lord of the Rings. So I think but I still enjoy the cartoon version, but it's so old. If anybody saw it now, a young person, they wouldn't be impressed. But again, it would have been from my time, so I watched it in my time and thought it was really good. Don't like Lord of the Rings. That bores me. What, Smart? You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. Lord of the Rings is the best. To be fair, when you read it though, it's very long because there's so much explanation on this, on that, blah blah blah, and sometimes the wording, the English wording, and the way that it's worded sometimes confuses me, so I have to go back and read it a couple of times. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed The Hobbit, and I read the first book of The Lord of the Rings, and then I went on to the second, but again got distracted and never went back to the second book. But the films I think are amazing. I'm getting the book soon. That's my next book buy. Right, okay. I mean, I love Lord of the Rings. Emma, hi, how are you? Hope you're well. Sorry, I'm missing tonight's very interesting sounding chat. My mother-in-law is on the way over and I'm cleaning. Have a lovely weekend, everyone. After you've done your place, if you fancy coming around to clean my place, it needs a really good clean. So come round, do your thing. I'll be happy. But no, I'm only joking. Enjoy your visit. So don't stress too much about the cleaning and stuff, but enjoy your visit. Enjoy your time. Chill. It's Friday, man. Chill. But yeah, I really want to get back into reading. I feel that I watch too much stuff, so I watch too much TV, I feel. But my parents and my family will always tell you, from when I was really little, I've always watched TV. It's been one of those things where it's just something. I don't think any other member of my family are interested in TV as much as I am, but I think that's because I wanted to be there was a time I wanted to be a dancer, wanted to be an actress, wanted to be a singer, all of those sorts of things. So performing arts has always interested me. I like to see character process. I like to see how somebody comes up with their character, how what the subtext is and all of that type of stuff. So all of that type of thing has always interested me. So my parents, yeah, they'll always tell you, oh God, yeah, Kelly was an average. She watched everything on the TV. I used to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and watch TV, children's programs, cartoons, all of that type of stuff, films. Like we said before, we love the Golden Girls and Knots Landing, Dallas, you know, Falcon Crest, all of that type of stuff. But I mean, acting back in the day wasn't as you know, in depth as it is now. So you know, when you sort of think about a character and when you try and build the character and you think about their past life, you know, where were they brought up, how were they brought up, what type of parents do they have, because that all has a bearing on what your character then becomes. So especially when I'm watching people performing, so when I'm watching auditions, especially, so when I used to attend auditions and stuff like that, you know, there'd probably be about 8 of you, and I would really sit there and sort of, do I believe them? Are they good? You know, what is the story that they're telling, and all of that type of stuff. And I would be lost in their acting and sort of like really concentrating and wondering, how can I hone my craft? How can I do this? What can I deliver it in this line? How would they react when somebody says, because your reaction is to someone's action, things like that, just things like that. Okay. Oh right, okay. So Minnie's just sent me a picture with the box of her collection of Roald Dahl. Wow. Do you know the books that I used to collect? Oh God, what's his name now? I forget his name. Oh, he then suffered with Alzheimer's, I think. He did the Discworld. Oh, I forget the writer's name, and I had so many of his books. Richard Armitage, from Lord of the Rings. No, Richard Armitage did The Hobbit. Was in the Vicar of Dibley, yeah. Vicar in White, yeah, he was. In the Vicar of Dibley, he actually played the love interest to Dawn French, didn't he? To the vicar's the vicar's love interest. Yeah, Vicar in White. But yeah, he was actually, yeah, Richard Armitage was the Hobbit, not the Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings, this is me getting technical now, so forget what I'm saying. Don't worry about it. Because I'm thinking, no, this is this and this is this. But yeah, I used to have a friend, and she was in love with Richard Armitage. He did another, I think it was another BBC, I think it might have been a Catherine Cookson book or something like that, where he worked in a factory. And she goes, oh yeah, you know, his eyes, and she used to bring up all these pictures on the internet. Oh yeah, look, we used to be not watching, but she would show me pictures. This was back when I worked in the law firm, and it was just, so there was 3 of us in a switchboard room, and we didn't have a computer, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they gave us a computer. So we had 2 computers in the office. So then she would bring up like little pictures of Richard Armitage and how she liked him and this, that, and the other. It was crazy. She was crazy. We've been watching Wurzel Gummidge, right? And Rent a Ghost. I used to love Rent a Ghost. The Hobbit, both the same to me. Yeah, my mum would be like you. Oh, it's both. It's the same thing, isn't it? Yeah, I loved Rent a Ghost. Mrs. Popoff. Achoo! She's in what do you call it now? Isn't she? Coronation Street. And Wurzel Gummidge. I loved Wurzel Gummidge. I really, really did. But I haven't. Has anybody watched the remake of Wurzel Gummidge? I used to, do you know what? That Aunt Sally, I tell you, one of the, there was a parade that I grew up in Battersea, and there was a parade of some sort. I'm sure Princess Diana or someone was meant to be visiting our little estate. And one of the we had to get dressed up in fancy dress, and one of the girls dressed up as Aunt Sally, and her makeup was so good. She looked so good as Aunt Sally. I thought it was brilliant. I was dressed up as a clown. I think my mum dressed me up as a clown, if I remember correctly. I wasn't good. Mackenzie Crook, that was it. I couldn't remember his name. Mackenzie Crook. Oh, it wasn't good. Oh, that's a shame. I didn't. Do you know what? I just think that it's that thing, isn't it, of nostalgia. I don't think it will, when you watch something, especially when you watch something of the time, it will never, it won't, it's not going to make it, is it? It's not going to be good because it reminds you of that specific time. Like when you read your annuals and things like that, it's reminds you of the time then. So when they remake something, especially when they remake, because when Mackenzie Crook did it, he didn't even look like the old Wurzel Gummidge with the old straw hair and the top hat and things like that. Only watched 20 minutes of it. I haven't even watched it. I should really watch it, actually. But I loved Sean Pertwee and things. I really enjoyed Wurzel Gummidge. And what was the other thing that because you had the maker, I can't remember the guy who made the Scarecrows. Was he called the Scarecrow Maker? I can't remember. But the Scarecrow Maker did Catweasel. Did anybody ever used to watch Catweasel? Yeah, I used to watch Catweasel. God, Metal Mickey, if anybody remembers that. Yeah, so many old type things. When I watch Wurzel and Rentaghost, I can't believe how bad it was, and I love the original. But that's the thing. You don't notice how bad it is. You don't notice when you're younger, when things are done. They're not things that you notice. Crowman made the Scarecrow, yeah, the Crowman, and then he went on to do Catweasel. But yeah, I mean, films of those times were, you just watch that. I mean, when I watch the Sinbad movies now, you just realize how terrible they actually are, but you don't care because it was of the time. We went, I remember reading in a magazine once, God, I would have been in school at that point, that Michael Jackson had a movie or a visual experience in Disney, and I really, really wanted to see it. But by the time I was able to go to Disney, they didn't have the show there anymore. And then the first year that Mark and I went, they had it on for a limited season or a limited period, and we went to see it, and it was done in the 80s, and it wasn't good, as in the graphics weren't good. But I said to Mark, but when you, in the 80s, this would have been state of the art. And when you go back and you look at a lot of animated or 3D or whatever, things like Tron and all of that were done in the 80s, you realize how terrible the graphics and stuff are. But although watching the Michael Jackson sort of little stint, it was like a 3D type thing. When you watched it, you appreciated it for how it was in the 80s. And then I also took him to see, they had the ride, the Terminator 2 ride it was. And you went in, and you have all these like, welcome to Cyberdyne, my name is blah blah blah, and all of this, and they had all these actors on. It was really good. And then I mean, at the time I thought it was amazing. You go in, it's like a cinematic experience, all 3D and all of this sort of stuff. And then when I watched it for many years afterwards, and then when I took Mark and we went to see it, I realized, oh my God, this looks so old. Oh, it hit me, because I hadn't been for the last few years, that it was actually really old. So my appreciation for it was still there because it was still good, but the graphics were very old because we had moved on graphically so far on to when that was done. They've taken it down now. It's a different, I think it's called the Bourne Experience, which we haven't seen yet. Loved Catweasel. Yeah, so did I. I really did. And do you know what? There was an episode on the other day. I don't know if I was flicking through YouTube or something, and me and Mark were watching it, and I was just like, it was so strange. Did you ever watch Stig of the Dump? When I was in school, I watched Stig of the Dump. I watched He-Man the other day, and the graphics are terrible. Yeah. Oh, does it? It has Courtney Cox in it, does it? Oh, the film. Oh, you mean the film He-Man? Yes, yes, yes. Um, oh, I'm just trying to remember it because I remember watching He-Man, and that had Frank Langelica in it. I don't know if he played Skeletor, in that one. Um, but yeah, it was Frank Langella. Yeah, the film. Yeah, Stig of the Dump. Stig of the Dump, and the thing that always reminds me of Stig of the Dump is the jelly babies, because I used to like eating the jelly babies. But yeah, I mean, Minnie, have you seen He-Man the film? It's really old. Um, but same as Flash Gordon, terrible. But you know what? The graphics. But you know what? I love Flash Gordon. I love the music, and it is terrible, especially when he's flying on the skyrocket. The graphics are terrible, but again, I love it. It brings back real nostalgia for me, and it's just such a shame they didn't make a second Flash Gordon. No, I haven't seen it. I don't know if He-Man would have been before your time anyway. So, it I would have been surprised if you had said to me, yeah, but then I wouldn't have been if you said, oh, my dad showed it to me or something, because I imagine it might have been something your dad might have watched. The Birdman, great movie and soundtrack. The Birdman, yeah. I love Brian Blessed. I think his voice is absolutely amazing. He's crazy, but his voice is so round and rich. I love him. I think he's brilliant. I actually went to see. I don't know if they do it in Toronto, Minnie, but here we have the open air cinemas, and so they set up. Sometimes they might set it up at the museum. Sometimes they set it up in parks. Sometimes they set it up on rooftops. But it's just an open air cinema, and you normally only get them in the summer here. I went to see Flash Gordon twice. I went to see Flash Gordon at Somerset House on the Strand when they sort of first started doing open air cinema, and Brian May was there and Brian Blessed was there. So they both gave a speech and spoke about, and Brian Blessed did his Gordon's alive. And it was really good, and we watched it, and the thing was, it had been raining all day, and it was 1 August, and we were just so lucky that it had stopped raining. And then, all right, He-Man is on Sky or Netflix. If you're curious, Minnie, and you've got Sky or Netflix, then you might not have Sky actually, but you might have Netflix. But yeah, Mark says it's on Sky or Netflix. But and then I went to see at the Science Museum with some friends, and again, Brian Blessed was there. Brian May wasn't there, but Brian Blessed was there, and gave a little speech, and then did his, Gordon's alive. And it's just cool to watch something with so many people, and you're there, and it's open air, and it's lovely. I mean, but that day it was really cold. That day I brought my jumper, brought my scarf, and I remember I had my Harry Potter scarf, but it was just yellow and sort of maroon color. It didn't have Harry Potter or anything on it, and one of the guys was like, "Is that a Harry Potter scarf?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm freezing. I had my little Harry Potter scarf on, blah blah." But yeah, I love going to the open air cinema. I just feel like we went to see, what did we go to see? Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah, we went to see Bohemian Rhapsody. That was good, open air. And that was slightly different though, because everybody bought their food, and it was just like these posh ladies bringing champagne and salmon and stuff. I thought, I've got to up my game. I've got to up my game. And next time I'm bringing my salmon, I'm bringing my pate. I'm going to bring, well, not champagne because I don't drink champagne, but I don't like the taste of it. But maybe a cocktail or two, maybe a pina colada or something. so yeah, so that's what I'm going to do for the next open air cinema. But I love those types of things. I love doing things, you know, like open air cinema and doing a picnic and things like that. And it's just such a shame that, you know, the weather hasn't been with us this year as it was last year, because last year the weather was on point. Last year we had sun from April and it was hot. I remember spending time in the garden. I remember going for walks. It was lovely. You been to the open air? No, I haven't. Films are the films are 5 years behind. Yeah, but I wouldn't mind it. I'd still watch them. But I want the when did we last go? I think we went in 2019, and I wanted to go then to the open air cinema, but for some reason we didn't get a chance. But I will definitely go to the open air cinema. I don't mind that it's 5 years behind. 5 years behind, can you imagine? Because we paid to go and watch old films now for the open air cinema. I mean, I went to see Flash Gordon twice. I went to see, where else did we go? I've been to see a couple of things. And I wanted, The Greatest Showman was on, but Mark didn't really want to watch The Greatest Showman. But they also do these cinema immersive experiences, but they're so expensive to do. Like, they do this thing in London, right, called the Secret Cinema, for anybody that doesn't know. And sometimes what they do with this Secret Cinema, they don't tell you what the film is, and they just give you little clues until you buy a ticket. And then when you buy a ticket, they tell you what it is. But now I believe they tell you what the film is, but it's a whole immersive experience. The last time they did one, I think they did one for Lawrence of Arabia, and it was all sand everywhere and all of this, but like some of them are over £100, and I just think that's just so much money to spend on an experience. And don't get me wrong, the experience is probably brilliant, but I think to myself, well, I could go and probably do 2 or 3 things for that in London, and London is expensive anyway. But you know, I could go and do a couple of things with that £100, rather than, because I don't even think there's no food included or whatever. You're just paying for the immersive experience, and then you're buying stuff on top when you're inside the immersive experience. I mean, out of that £100, I could do Friends, Harry Potter, and get something to eat. And like I said, London's expensive. But yeah, I feel like for what it is, the immersive experiences are a bit too expensive, the Secret Cinemas. But if I saw one that was a good price and for a film that I wanted to see, I would go, but I wouldn't pay £100 or over £100. That's a lot expensive. Experience brilliant, but a lot of cash. Exactly. It's like, so I mean, don't get me wrong, there are things that I will spend money on and things like that, but to me it has to be value for money. And I feel like for that experience, unless I was like really, I mean, even if it was Harry Potter, I mean, with the Harry Potter tour, it's not £100, but it's slightly different. But I just think to spend £100 for something that is an hour or two to be immersed in that world is so much money. It's just more money. It's just too much money to spend. It would have to be something fantastic. It would have to be for me and Marta, it would have to be an all-you-can-eat buffet. You'd have to get there early. It's all have to be free. Drinks, food, you know, comfy, proper seats, VIP experience, all of that. To pay that sort of money, that's the sort of thing I'd be expecting. Do you know what I mean? I'd be expecting really lovely chair or recliner chairs or something, and a buffet and free drinks all night and all of that. Yeah, it would have to be something really spectacular for me to pay that type of money. There was a friend of mine was telling me about a Harry Potter ball that they do every year. The ticket is like £150, and I was just like, oh, I like. Don't get me wrong, I love Harry Potter and everything else, but £150 for a ticket for a ball, I'm like, I mean, I just don't know where they're getting their prices from. I don't know where these crazy prices are coming from. So no, I really want to go, but no. I'll have to. I'll have a Google and see who's been to the if it's uploaded anywhere. It might be on YouTube. Everything is shooting. Do you know what? Like in London, as you know, because you've seen us when we buy things and things like that. It's extortionate here. I don't like to talk too much about price because Mark gets really upset. He gets really grumpy, especially if, like, you know, like you guys are up north and you can get this for this much and this for this, and he's from the West Country, so you know you can get this for this much, and but here, down here, is crazy prices, crazy prices. I don't know. I mean, even to buy a house is crazy. I don't know how London itself has coped and run as it has done. I mean, most cities, when you go to them, are very expensive. Um, I found Toronto was very expensive. Um, New York, I didn't find as expensive. Maybe I didn't find New York as expensive, but still expensive. Where else? We've been to a few cities now. Brussels. Brussels is not that expensive. Brussels is actually doable. Brussels is quite nice. You can walk around. Paris is expensive depending on what you want to do. Paris can be very, so if you're going to go and, like with Brussels, you can walk around. There's nothing really specific. I mean, we went to the Tintin museum because Mark is very much into art. He loves like art, drawing, all of that type of stuff. So he definitely, and he loves comics and things. So we went to the Tintin museum in Brussels, and that was quite good as well. And it wasn't my type of thing, to be fair, because I can appreciate art for what it is, but I'm not in depth as what he, you know, he would look at the brush strokes or the creativity or know about the artist and all of that type of stuff. He has a real love for that sort of thing. And he knows like different artists, but I will appreciate it for what it is. It's lovely, or it might speak to me, but my level of understanding of art would not be as in depth as his level of understanding of art. It's holidays that are making me gulp at the moment. Rhodes, I thought, was expensive. Yeah, I can imagine Rhodes being expensive. Greece in general, okay. Yeah, downtown Toronto is expensive, but once you go to the malls that aren't downtown or shops that aren't downtown, then the prices is definitely a lot better, right? Yeah, because well, we were downtown. We were down by Yonge and Dundas. And I found that, yeah, it was very expensive. We did go somewhere to go shopping, which wasn't as expensive, but it would be like, I mean, when I went to Toronto, like when my friend lived, would be like, if anybody lives in London, would be like living in Leicester Square. Do you know what I mean? Like right in the thick of everything. Everything is within walking distance where she lived. And all the hotels were there. She lived across the road from a hotel. I think she lived across the road from a Hilton, actually. Yeah, just things in general there were very expensive. So to live like that, but I think to live and work in a city, unless you're renting, is quite impossible. You have to have a lot of money to be able to buy and work. You would have to have some fantastic job to buy and work in London. So basically in London it's split up into zones, and the further, so obviously central London will be zone 1, and the further that you live out, and it goes up to zone 9, and obviously in zone 9 would be very affordable, so you could work in zone 1 and then travel back to zone 9, and it would be very affordable to live. However, you are then no longer in London. By the time you reach zone 9, that's not classed as London anymore. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's very affordable. Like I knew a guy at work, and he was looking for a place to buy. He ended up buying in Zone 7, and I mean, don't get me wrong, because to buy a house in Zone 7 or whatever is still expensive. And you know, the way that the house price is just shot up is absolutely crazy to me. So before you could buy a house for like 60,000, and now you're looking, depending on where you're buying, and I'm not talking about the center of London, we're talking about a few zones out, you're talking like 350,000, 400,000, 500,000. It's just madness. It's just, the house price have gone crazy. If you're in the suburbs area, it's still expensive, but more better than in the main part of the city, like downtown. This is very true. It's the same in England. That's on like living and getting a house or apartment or condo. Yeah, I mean, I mean here, I don't know. You know, you see a lot of poverty in, when you go into London, you see a lot of homeless people. You can see that the government and the council trying to move these homeless people on. And I was watching a documentary on homeless people, and it's not as, I mean, it's horrible to be homeless and stuff like that, but some of them consider that they are living free. You know, they're living, don't get me wrong, they're saying it is dangerous on the streets, it's dangerous, but they feel like they are living a free life. There was one, so in this documentary they followed one boy, and he couldn't get on with his mum, and so the mum, I think the mum put him in foster care, and he ran away from foster care or whatever. He didn't like it wherever it was that they put him. So he ran away and then had been living on the streets ever since. Anyway, he'd been living on the streets now for however many years, and there's these trucks that pull up and give out shirts and shoes and things, and people come to the trucks and they get them. He was like really happy he'd got this shirt and all of that type of stuff. And there was places that they could go for food when they were hungry, and all of that type of thing. And then they managed to get him a flat, so he got his own place and everything else. But he felt he couldn't, after a while, he couldn't keep the flat because he couldn't conform to what society makes people conform to nowadays. You know, you pay your bills, you work, and you this, that, and the other. And for him, he couldn't conform to that, so he ended up giving up the flat because he couldn't conform to what society wanted him to conform to. So it was crazy. Up north in a nice area, 5-bedroom house is 245,000 pounds. You think there would be no 5-bedroom house for that price? For a simple 2-bedroom, you're looking at 350,000 for a 2-bedroom. Street cat named Bob, true story, but a guy behind being homeless and a cat. Oh, it's about a guy being homeless and a cat. Oh, there was another documentary about a guy, and he was homeless, and I don't know if anybody watches Super Vet. And Minnie, you wouldn't have seen it, but it's basically about this vet, and he does everything for animals. He like loves them, and you know, he does operations. But I dread to think how much because I can imagine they cost more than human operations to do these operations on animals. And you see their owners, they get very upset and everything else. And there was a homeless guy on it, or he was homeless, and he was talking to camera, goes, I was homeless, and my sister called me and said, do you want this? And it was a black puppy. It was I don't know if it was a Labrador maybe, or something along those lines. And he said yes. So in order to have the puppy, he had to get a place, which he did, and he got a place, sorted himself out and everything. However, the the puppy, who was now a dog, developed something. Some type of operation or sickness, and it cost a lot of money to get the operation done. So he tried to raise the money, and can't I can't remember whether he didn't get the money or he did and the operation didn't work, but the dog didn't survive and passed away. But I can't remember if he managed to collect enough money to get him the operation done. But it was so sad, so sad. It's a film and a book. Okay. Yeah, very clever man. Expensive. They never mention prices. Yeah, Noel Fitzpatrick. Yeah. Oh, that's so sad. Yeah, I mean, some of the animals that he helps is so amazing. I love watching Super Vet. I love watching programs, and I love watching um the owners and how happy they are. Pets are, so much better. But I just imagine how, those prices are just going to be completely. I wouldn't be surprised if some people have had to remortgage their houses in order to pay for some of the vet bills and things like that, because I think you get pet insurance and things like that, but I think his prices probably are beyond, pet insurances. But yeah, you see some of the dogs coming in, and you have well-known celebrities bringing their pets there. He's very, very good at what he does. But yeah, it's just sometimes when they don't make it, or when there's not enough money to pay for the bills and things like that, it's really, really, really sad. And I always get emotional when I watch them. I just think, oh, because you just imagine, like, if you have your pet and everything else, and and what the prospect could be if you don't get that money together, or if you can't afford it, or if you have to make that horrible decision. And you just think, I don't know. I don't know. Part of that is one of the reasons why I think to myself, or maybe I wouldn't get a dog. I mean, Mark doesn't want me to get a dog anyway, but I will get one sooner or later. But I often think, how sad would I be if anything happened? I mean, I love French bulldogs, and I really want to get a French bulldog, but because they have all the breathing problems, I would be heartbroken, or I no, so I would have to look for a different dog, I think. It's so expensive, yeah, to care for a pet when it comes to vets. Like for checkup, and if it was an emergency, it is crazy, really. Yeah, a vet has to refer you to go up to the super vet. Oh, right. Oh, I see. I suppose it would depend on the type of illness, or whatever it is, for them to refer you, I guess, if it's one that they couldn't sort out. I love watching it, but I don't like watching the sad ones. um there are these things that I watch on YouTube, where they find an abandoned puppy or something like that, and you see these puppies, and they've been treated so badly, or these other dogs that have been wrapped up in a plastic bag, and I just think to myself, like, I don't understand humans sometimes. I really, really don't. It upsets me. um like, it's easiest for the food, and that I think a lot of people get a pet, yeah, but they don't think of getting pet insurance and setting up a savings account um for vet friends, just in case. Yeah. And I find people don't really think about that. That would be one of the things, because for me, I would have to think about pet insurance and all of that type of stuff, because they're part of your family. They become part of you. They become part of your family. They're so loyal, um, and they love you, and you love them, and things like that. So I couldn't imagine not getting pet insurance. I couldn't imagine if my, pet got ill, whatever it is, not taking it to the vet. I couldn't imagine that. That's to me, that's crazy. Um, bulldogs more. They can't breathe. Yeah, more they are. Yeah, it's true. They can't. They have all the breathing problems. That's why. I mean, I would love to get one French bulldog. I feel like they're you know, they're so independent and they sort of like have their own bullish attitude and all of that, and I would love that. But I think that because of the breathing problems and all of that, and I would never want to see an animal suffer. So I wouldn't want the animal to be in pain at any point, for just general everyday stuff, let alone, you know, if anything happened to them, but just general everyday stuff. I wouldn't want to see anybody or any animal in pain. Like, I'm thinking of getting a hamster, and my parents are thinking about it, and I'm already saving some money for the side of vet funds. Yeah. And that, but yeah, people really need to think of, yeah, these things first before getting a pet. It's so true. All dogs need insurance now, and that should be the case. That should be the case for all animals, to be fair, because it's also part of responsibility of having a pet. That's right, which is keeping it healthy and happy. Exactly. Just, I mean, if you were ill or whatever, you go to the doctor, right? But it's the same for the animals. They need to go to, you know, the vet and stuff. But yeah, I mean, yeah, people just don't think. They really don't, and it's very sad. It's very sad for the animal in the end, when people don't think of them. But I watch all these little stories, you know, they're sort of like 10-15 minutes long, and then, you know, but what I like is the end result when they find the puppy or whatever it is, or dog, or the dog that's had a litter of puppies and things, and then they all find homes. And I like it when they if they can find homes in the same area. So like if it's a little, because then at least they can go and visit each other, and I like that. I like hearing when I see sort of like stories where that, you know, they've had a brother or two sisters or whatever, but they found families that are near each other, and so then they can go and visit each other. I like that. Russian dwarves are most friendly hamsters or rats. I had pet rats. I don't know about rats. I don't know if I could keep a rat. I've got to be honest. My sister had hamster when she was growing up. And I remember when it got old, and he was, I mean, I wasn't attached to the hamster because it was her, I didn't live at home at that point. It was her pet. And I remember, you know, it going in his ball, running around the house and all of this type of stuff. But yeah, I wasn't I remember when she was very sad when he passed away. Hammy, his name was. But yeah, I'm not really a hamster or guinea pig or rabbit type of person. I remember my cousin getting a rabbit as a pet. I always think like rabbits and things like that are very strange pets. I don't know why, I just think they're strange pets. And you know, he lets it out, and the rabbit sort of jumps about everywhere, and there's a hutch for it, and all of this. But I just feel like it's rare that I meet people that have rabbits as pets anyway, or hamsters or guinea pigs or any. The main people that you see will have a dog or a cat normally. But then you come, like my friend at school, her brother had a pet snake and used to feed it mice and things like that. It was just very strange to me. Yeah, I've been doing my own reassured on different species, yeah, and how to properly care for them, yeah, and keep its stress low. Oh, yeah, because they start to shed, don't they, when they get stressed, and make it happy and healthy, so nothing bad would happen. Yeah, because they do get stressed. I've had a hamster before. Her name was Cutie. And she like for 4 years, which is old for a hamster. Do you know what? I think my sister's was about that. And I cried so much when she passed, but she wasn't in any pain. Luckily, she passed peacefully. In her sleep. Yeah, I don't know how. I remember when my sister's hamster passed away, and I remember her saying to me, "Oh, I'm really sad," and I was like, "Oh." But yeah, he was old when he passed away, but I didn't realize that they passed away so young. I mean, 4 years is not a long time, a majorly long time, is it? I had Costa Rica zebra tarantula. Oh, And a leopard gecko. Oh my lord. Oh no, 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 no. A Costa Rican zebra tarantula. What? I'm scared. I've got a phobia, you know. I've got arachnophobia. Have you ever seen the film Arachnophobia? Oh my god. No, I'm not a spiders person. I am not. I even when someone goes to grab the spider, I start screaming. The spider could be over there, and like someone's running to grab the spider, and I start screaming. I'm not a spider. No, 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 no. No, that's not me. Oh, I would love to get a. Don't you start. A leopard gecko. Oh God. You know the ones that I've seen like what's them ones that look like dinosaurs, them dragon ones. Um they look like them dragons, them dragon dinosaur things. Oh, when I see them, I'm thinking, oh my god. Yeah, no, that's all too much for me. Bearded dragons, is that what they call bearded dragons? I don't know. They look like massive lizards, but more round. Beard dragon. Oh right, yeah, okay. So you're both saying beard dragon, right? Oh no, when I see them things, woo, 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 woo. No, I would love to get a bearded dragon one day. You're mad. No, 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 no. I'll be like, no. Them sort of things scare me. All them sort of animal type things, they scare me. I'll just think, oh, but spiders scare me the most. I don't know what I would be more scared of, the dragon or the spider. I don't know. I can't tell you what one I would be more scared of, the dragon or the spider. But you know, with the spider, you know what I don't like? They're quick. Oh no, 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 no. Oh yeah. When someone goes I start screaming. It's not listen, no, 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 no. Spiders is not for me. It's not for me. And I don't think the bearded dragon is for me either. Them things scare me. And don't they eat people? Oh my god. Don't the bearded dragons eat people? Oh no, 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 no. No, 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 no. Not today. Not for me. No. I think my heart could only take a dog. I feel I'm not really a cat person. I think Mark's more of a cat person because the cat can take care of itself, whereas the dog needs more nurture and needs your attention and things like that. And I think Mark prefers the idea of the cat rather than the dog. In your lifetime, yeah, I know, but normally when you're asleep. One of the big ones that is not a pet. Oh, the Komodo. That's the one I was because the bearded dragon. No, that's the one I was. The Komodo dragon. The Komodo dragon. That's the one. The pet one is small lizard, which is the bearded dragon. Ella. No, that's the Komodo dragon. That's the one I was thinking of. Yes, that's the one. Yes, them things. Woo! I don't like lizards anyway. When we went to Mauritius, we had there was a lizard that lived in the city. When I was growing up, we went to Mauritius quite often because we went to go and visit my dad's family. So we went to Mauritius and France quite a lot because that's where our family are. And I remember going to my grand's house, and there was lizards on the ceiling, and I couldn't sleep. Like we'd go to me and my mum would go for a sleep during the day, and I would look. My mum would be asleep, and I would be looking at that lizard, thinking, "I'm not going to sleep anytime soon." And then when we were when I went to Mauritius with Mark, we had one in our hut. So we stayed in a hotel. They had these thatched huts, beautiful, really lovely hotel. And in your little thatched hut, you have your bedroom, you have like little cupboard, you have your bathroom, and we were right by reception. It was a really nice room because we were right by reception. We were walking distance to where we go for breakfast, and we were walking in distance to the pool. I loved that. I would definitely stay there again. And there was a lizard in the rafter, and I was like to Mark, there's a lizard up there. Mark called it Cyril or Horace. Cyril, I think he called it Cyril. Whew. Nah, them things ain't for me. Lizards, all that. No, they're not for me. Not for me. But I do love dogs. I like them, but I don't know. When if we ever get to the point where I'm serious about getting a dog, I will have to do a lot of research. I mean, my cousin, I've got family members that have got pets. I've got one cousin that's got a Shar Pei, and then my other cousin. Oh, he did tell me what it was. It's one of them dogs. It comes in three sizes. So you get the small one, you get the medium one, and you get the big one. And he's got the medium one. It's got like a little tash. I don't know what dog it is. He did tell me, but I can't remember the name of it. So I would definitely ask them for their advice. I've also got a friend who is, grew up with dogs and things like that. But I would want to do a lot of research, a lot of reading, different types of insurances, which one is the best one, all of that type of stuff, how much they cost, and yeah, all of that type of thing. That's hi Sienna. Um, so yeah, I'd consider it, but I'd have to do a lot of research on it because I feel like you can't just get a pet and then just think, yeah, and then panic about stuff afterwards. No. You got to read, research, and everything beforehand, and then uh Komodo dragon has more bacteria in its mouth. It bites its victims, then stalks it, waiting to die a slow, agonizing death. Listen, you lot, I'm telling you. Shar Pei need cream rubbing in the wrinkles, yeah. And they have, they have eyelashes that turn from inside out. Oh, do they? Oh, right. Oh, okay. So, I don't know. I mean, she had a Shar Pei before. She's got a Shar Pei now, but I've seen that. I love all their wrinkles and all of that. I love all of that. But again, I would have to think about because I've got a friend who's getting one, but she's going to get a cross because for that exact reason of the wrinkles. She didn't. She's getting a cross so it doesn't have as many wrinkles. Eyelashes grow inwards. Oh, you see, this is what I'm saying. I feel like you really like with me. I would really because I love little French bulldogs. I think they're so cute. But the only thing that would stop me from getting a French bulldog is because of the breathing problems. And I wouldn't want them to be in pain or whatever it is. Um, I just wouldn't want them to suffer. So that would be a no. But I would like to get a small dog, but two small dogs, so that they have each other for company and they run around and do whatever they're doing. So yeah, that's the only thing. And yeah, I think it is thinking about when you're out and you can't be out for a long time and things like that. And the only time I would consider getting a dog is if there was someone at home all day. So like during the pandemic, I know a lot of people went out and got pets, but then you have to think about, well, what about when I go back to work? What's going to happen with the pet? Do you know what I mean? Teacup size, yeah, the teacup size, the toy dog sizes. Oh, I love them, but they're not all good breeds in the sense that some of them do have a lot of problems. So I would really have to research and see, and I'd like to because I would like them to keep themselves company for whenever or if ever we're out, like out for dinner or out for lunch or something. But the only other thing is I would want to be at home, I think, because I think on the odd occasion you would be out, which is fine. But I think I'd want someone to be at home with them, not all the time, but majority of the time. So it would have to be if one of us was working part-time or if one of us was working from home, however many days a week and things like that, I think. Or someone to be able to pop in and see the dogs and see that they're okay. I know you can get those little camera things now, and they can walk by the camera, or you can turn on the camera and see that they're okay and everything like that. But I'd probably have someone pop in, like if I was to work remotely and then only go into the office like 1 or 2 days a week or something like that, that would be okay. I would consider that. But yeah, I think it would be important to me for me to be around, or someone to be around. Well, I'm going to have to go. Someone wants feeding. Bye, Kelly. Speak soon. Oh, bye. See you soon. Or speak soon. We'll email each other or text each other. But yeah, I would consider getting a dog, but not just yet. Much later, I think. I would think about it. But yeah, I think I don't know. I don't know what sort of pet owner I'd be. I hope I would be a good one, to be honest. Mark would be a very good one. And I think he would help and teach me, because he had a cat when he was growing up and things like that. So I think he would help and teach me and say, right, no, you have to do this or you have to do that, and things like that. And then I would have family members that would be able to help me and be able to pop in and things like that. So yeah, so I will consider it, but at a later date, I think, not just yet. I have to get my life sorted first. Once my life is sorted, then, you know, then I can think about pets in it. But yeah, that's it's crazy. I just think yeah, I'll think on it some more, but it won't be anytime soon. But when I do, I'll let you guys know, and I'll be like, look, we got this dog, or we got these dogs. Mark definitely doesn't want one, let alone two. Can you imagine me bringing back two? But yeah, I don't know. God, I've been chatting non-stop for like an hour and 45 minutes. Oh, anyway, I think that is going to be it for me for today. You will see Mark on Tuesday. It'll be his turn to do the live. So be kind. And yeah, so he's going to do that on Tuesday, and then you'll see me back on Friday. And then I might swap, then I might do the following Tuesday and then have him do a Friday. So we might alternate like that. So I might do this Friday, he'll do a Tuesday, then I'll do next Friday, and then after that I might do a Tuesday and then he does Friday. Something along those lines. So we mix up our days and stuff like that. So that'll be quite good, I think. But yeah, it was lovely talking to everyone. I liked that we chatted about books and stuff like that. I am going to try and get to finishing this book at some point. But if anyone's interested, Google it and see if it's something that you might be interested. It's a sort of like a fantasy book, and it's about a boy who can summon demons, but not demons in the sense that you're thinking demons, but almost like a symbiotic animal that they call demons. So very much along the lines of because they call them demons in Philip Pullman's Dark Materials. So that type of demon, not a demon as in somebody from the underworld. But yeah, so they summon these sort of like animal symbiotic demons, and yeah, it is quite. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the first one. I got the second one and bought the other two, and like I said, it was such a good deal in the bookshop. So yeah, if you fancy reading it, Google it, see if it's something that you might be interested in reading it, and I recommend it. So yeah, if there's any sort of fantasy books that you might see or think that I might like, let me know, and I'll Google it and have a look and see if I'm always on the lookout for good books, and I really love things like, you know, a wizard or a conjurer of some sort in that lives in an old type of village and takes on a boy as an apprentice, something like that, and something along those lines. Point Blank is good. Do you mean Point Blank? Point Blank, as in, did they make a film of Point Blank? I'm just trying to think. It rings a bell. Point Blank, Point Blank. Is that the film? Is that the? I want to say, is that the film with Keanu Reeves? I'm not sure. But I quite like, I'm more like the sort of like fantasy books, so more like not Merlin, but I always like it when they're in an old village, like, you know, they didn't have cell phones back in those days, and they live in thatched houses, and you know, technology isn't there, but mm, you know, it's all somebody's aware that they are a magician of some sort. That's the sort of thing that I like. Something that involves a magician and an apprentice, and things like that. I liked The Novice by Kate Tiernan. Was it Kate Tiernan? Was that she did that? And then I liked the Belgariad. I should Google that and then let you know, because it was by a writer. He did the Belgariad and the Malarian series, and there was 5 books, so it's 10 books in all. I'll Google it. I don't know if anybody's interested in those types of books. Hello, Jeremy Bum. Welcome. I'm actually just finishing up now, actually. We're just talking about books, so I'm finishing off talking about books. I like these sort of like magician type books. You know, somebody's found out that they woke up one day and they found out that they were a magician of some sort. And I always like it when they live in old villages, you know, and things like that. Thank you so much for today's live. Oh, thank you. Oh, have an amazing weekend, and you too. I hope you lot have an amazing weekend. I'm just wondering, what's everyone doing for the weekend? Thank you for today's show. I would definitely look into the book, but yes, if you look into the book email, I will email you some. Yeah, definitely. I've got some books on the shelf as well by Raymond E. Feast. It depends if you're into those types of books. The type of books that I like, that always involves a teacher and an apprentice, and they're learning how to use their powers of some sort, and things like that. So yeah, I would definitely sort of email you the books that I'm interested in. Oh, I'm seeing my cousins work for family barbecue now that we're allowed to. Yes. Oh, I hope you have a lovely, lovely time, and I hope the weather's with you. I hope it doesn't rain. Oh, do you know what? I'm just thinking about the smell of barbecue. I really, really love a good barbecue. Do you know what? If we have the weather, I'm really going to do one, because I did one. Was it not last week? I think it was the week before, and it was just amazing, and the smell's amazing, and I marinated all my steaks and everything. Oh, I love barbecue, and I hope this week is good, because then I will do one. I will also do a barbecue, so I hope you have an amazing time. They have a poor song. Listen, maybe I'm going to hop on a flight. I'm going to come with you to your cousin's place, because this sounds amazing. My son's having 11 mock plus test tomorrow and Sunday. We will enjoy food at home. Oh, wow. Well, wish your son all the best. I hope he doesn't get nervous and everything else. I hope, do you know what I mean? Because I know some kids I was never very good at exams, to be honest. I was good at all my coursework and things like that. But exams, I was never really that good. So I hope he does well. Wish him all the best from me. I hope, oh, bless him. Oh, God, on a Saturday as well. Oh. Saturday and Sunday. Oh, so I hope he does well. I remember when my nephew, my other nephew will be doing his soon, but yeah, I remember when my nephew was doing it, and my brother was getting him mock sheets to do and things like that. Yeah, good luck to him. Yeah, bless him. I hope he does well. Tell him not to stress too much. Make him his favorite food, Vina. Make him his favorite food. Yes, I hope he does well. Let us know how he gets on as well, because I'd love to know if he's done well and everything else. I'm sure he will. Just tell him not to be nervous. And all my best wishes. I hope he does well. Anyway, I'm going to leave you now. I'm going to finish my cold sandwich. I'm going to finish that, and I'm going to enjoy my little Starbucks. And yeah, I will catch up with you ladies, or well, not just ladies and gentlemen. When will I catch up with you next? I will catch up with you next Friday. So you'll see Mark on Tuesday. So stay around for him. I'm sure he'll have loads to talk about, I'm sure. So he'll be there on Tuesday, and I'll be with you again next Friday. So take care, everyone. Have an amazing weekend. And keep me updated and let me know what you all get up to. All right, take care. Bye. Bye. Oh, you have an amazing weekend too, Minnie. And you too, Vima, and your son. Take care. Bye.